Last time on Hell's Kitchen, Ramsay got 16 chefs and yelled at them the whole time for being American. What are you doing, you donkey? Don't you know how to cook food? Why did I get you off the street? Garbage, utter garbage. This time on Hell's Kitchen, I'm the narrator, Annie.
And I'm the watcher, Minty.
And this is FunUntitled, where we serve every podcast with an FU.
I don't exactly know why we're doing an episode of Hell's Kitchen. As of this recording, I believe season 21 is the latest one. And I've seen season 1 to 4 and then 10 to 21.
Well, I'll tell you why we're doing this. It's because you saw Psych and said, oh, hell yeah, we're going to do so many American shows that I'm watching. We're going to do Psych, we're going to do Hell's Kitchen, we'll do Monk,
We'll do Crime Scene Kitchen,
we'll do
Lego Master,
the British Baking Show. So you're the one who asked for Hell's Kitchen. Okay, I did not watch anything.
Okay, because it's on Hulu, season 1 and then 10 to 21. So that's why I'm watching like this weird order. And season 1 was really hard to watch because there was all these non-chefs going for like this job of being an executive chef at some fancy restaurant in Las Vegas with a $250,000 salary. And he's yelling the fuck out of them. I mean, they kind of sign up for it, but it's also kind of like, this is season 1. So nobody knows what's going to happen. And we watched this as a kid.
Did we watch this?
Yeah, we've seen Hell's Kitchen as children.
Could you imagine going to Drag Race, watching season 1, and you can only watch season 10 onwards?
You know, I mean, we kind of did that because we saw season 10 first.
Did we?
Yeah, because season 11 was playing at the time. So I said, okay, I want to watch a whole full season. So I watched season 10. And if you don't know RuPaul's Drag Race, they make constant references to old queens and old seasons. So season 11, the first episode was, you're gonna all dress like a queen from a previous season. And we were like, we don't know what that means. Because we only saw season 10 at that point.
I guess in like Hell's Kitchen, they kind of do that for All Stars. You're like, oh, were they better in the season they were in before?
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because they only have one All-Star season, which is weird because like Top Chef, RuPaul's Drag Race, any other reality show we're watching, like all has an All-Stars because it's so cheap and easy to do.
And honestly, it's just fan service at one point.
I wonder if it's just because they don't have enough people who's willing to go back on this train.
But going back to the old tangent, like in the beginning, they just got like a bunch of smucks, right? But then like I think at season 3, you said they got actual professional chefs.
Yeah, like you needed cooking experience, which is also kind of weird to say because season 4 winner was a culinary student. So do you count that as 2 years of professional cooking?
It kind of reminds me of the other Gordon Ramsay show, Next Level Chef, where like they all have experience cooking. It might be at home, but
or social media or whatever else you want to call. That show's really good too, actually.
You know what's funny? This is a little tangent. This guy, he's a social media food critic. So he went to 7-Eleven, he bought all the Pokeballs, onigiris from Japanese 7-Eleven, and then the Pokeball was supposed to be the worst was a spam musubi. And I was like, oh, bullshit. And then the Great Ball was a curry rice onigiri. And then the third one, the Ultra Ball, was just like an onigiri, but it had a ramen egg in the middle.
Whoa, wait a second. Where's my $50 Master Ball with like the gold flakes on it?
We'll go to 7-Eleven petition. But I'm just like, I don't know if you consider a food critic just because you buy things from 7-Eleven, my dude.
Ooh.
But end of tangent.
To be fair though, what qualifications do you need to be a food critic? But anyways, back to Hell's Kitchen. But yeah, so season 1, it's really hard to watch. Like, I watched a couple episodes and I had to take a break. Because it's so cruel. Then I jumped to season 10, which actually of all the seasons has kind of been my favorite one. Because season 10, it's like, you know what's gonna happen. The people who sign up for it, you know, like they know what's gonna happen. He's still as hard, but they don't show as many customers coming up to be mean to Ramsay. But I think it's also because like the customers know. It's 10 years later. If you don't know that you could potentially not have food at that point, then why would you go?
Sometimes we watch Top Chef and like we've been waiting for hours for our food and I'm like, dude, I don't care if you could be on TV. Leave. Okay, as someone who never saw Hell's Kitchen, what's the structure of the episode look like?
I think the basic structure is, okay, you're split into teams, boys and girls, right? Girls are red, boys are blue. You have a mini challenge which can range from some kind of cooking preparation, so like preparing scallops or preparing lobster, you know, like shelling it all and whatever.
I like the Top Chef relay race where like you have to like debone like 10 fish and move on to like peel 20 eggs.
I do like those ones, especially the way Top Chef does it. But something in Hell's Kitchen is like, debone this fish, then ride a tricycle to me through this obstacle course. Don't drop it. And then I will rate it as good or bad. And I'm like, is this entertaining? It kind of was.
The main challenge I saw was, I guess it was a blind taste test.
Oh, yeah. It's the one that's in every season. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of entertaining only because, like, it's interesting to see who's really good and who's really shitty. Like, it's very rare for people to get all 4 correct or all 0 wrong.
Oh.
I mean, it happens.
When did they start with, like, oh, if you get one of them wrong, we're gonna punish your teammate?
Oh, yeah. That's why, like, I want to say, like, later seasons, 15. That made it very entertaining. Because it's funny to see one guy get totally wiped and then another one just, like, clean. They're like, ew, you got spaghetti sauce splattered on me. But, so, you do this basic challenge, and then if your team wins, you get, like, this fabulous prize. You get to like eat at a fancy restaurant, go on a helicopter ride. I like the one that's a shopping spree. Like they literally go somewhere and they can spend $1,000.
Wow.
And it's either like on clothes or cooking equipment.
Oh. Every time I watch Minty, you know, like, oh, this is Hell's Kitchen, this is the mini challenge, yada yada. They're doing like a weird crossword puzzle where they can only use the ingredients in it.
I like those. I like those really gimmicky ones where they have to like fight for the ingredients.
But every time I watch, blue team loses. I just look at Minty being like, okay, is it me?
I will say the latest seasons, a lot of times red team wins, but I think in the earlier ones, it's a little more even. I don't know why. I could be wrong because I'm not tallying this up, but that's the vibes I'm getting.
My favorite mini challenge, this isn't from Hell's Kitchen, it's from Top Chef, is the one where they have to go in a dark room and eat a plate, and then when they come out, they have to recreate that plate.
They do something like that in Hell's Kitchen. They call it taste it, now make it.
Oh.
Well, Ramsay will make a dish and then they have to recreate it. But they can see it, they can re-taste it, but there's so many components to it. You need the right protein. If you don't have the right protein, you're automatically out. Or the right sauce, the right puree, the right accoutrement. I also like the ones where like a lot of times they're making food for like children.
Oh.
And then the children get to vote because it's more of a skill of like how much of a people pleaser are you? Because Hell's Kitchen, unlike like Top Chef, is like not just being like, are you the best cook in the world? Like, can you make the best food? It's like, you're gonna run a restaurant. Are you the best executive chef? Like, are you gonna cook good food, lead people, make customers happy? It just kind of tests like a little bit of everything.
This is the last time I'm gonna bring up Top Chef, but this is my favorite moment of all time where like they had to cook for a bunch of kids and like whoever like, you know, was able to sell the most food, quote unquote, to these kids won. So this one lady was like, oh, I'm going to serve this alcohol dish to these kids, but it's fine. I'm going to burn away the alcohol. But obviously she got on the bottom, and then they were like, look, it's not a matter of whether or not you burned off the alcohol. It's the fact that why did you think kids would like the taste of alcohol?
Oh, you know, that just happened somewhat recently. This lady, she made a hamburger and she stuffed it with goat cheese, and people were like, kids don't like goat cheese. And she was like, my kids love goat cheese. I'm like, of course your kids love it.
My kids love the taste of bourbon. What are you talking about? I rub it on their teeth whenever they cry.
Look, the school can't get me in trouble because I'm the one administering to them. But yeah, so like I said, they go on these fabulous prizes. What I think is kind of interesting is a lot of times when, most times a team wins, but you get to the point where they get to like become like one team and then only one person gets to win. And that's when like shit hits the fan. Because for some reason, I mean, you kind of can figure out why. When that person wins the mini challenge and they get to go on this fabulous trip, they come back and they're like the black sheep.
Oh.
Like nobody wants to associate with them. And it's like really cruel, but also like, damn, the show is so fucked up in that sense. They clearly pick people who are like not psychologically all there.
I mean, kind of, right? As all reality shows.
I don't know, because like Top Chef, right? Like the newest season, it's like, oh, James Beard nominees or 4 restaurant owners. like Top Chef is like very tame. Maybe the earlier seasons, they may have picked like some questionable people. I feel like the new ones, they have like a reputation. Like, oh, you are on Top Chef, that means you mean something.
Okay, when they win the main challenge, they get great prizes, but they also get harsh punishments when they lose, right?
Yes, the losing team goes through like these back-breaking, horrible punishments. And I think it's interesting, right? I think the point of these rewards and punishment is supposed to bond the group.
What's the worst one you've seen?
I think the most hated one is recycle day. So they have to literally go through all the trash and clean out what they can recycle, like food waste, plastic waste, whatever else kind of waste there is.
One time I saw them making bread, and they kept having to wake up, I guess, like at 3 in the morning to like tend to the bread.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Actually, delivery day is probably the worst one. Literally, a truck will honk at them and they have to run out and go get it. And they'll do this like early in the morning. I think one season, it was during service.
Wow.
When they heard the honking and I'm like, oh, like some punishments do extend into the I think that was more of an early season thing. I don't think they do it as much in the later seasons.
Yeah, because fucking unfair.
But it's funny because, like I said, I think they're meant to bond. Like, oh, you know, we don't want to go through this again, so let's like bring ourselves together and let's strategize. But a lot of times it ends up fracturing them a lot because they'll be like, you're the reason why we lost the mini challenge. You should be the one doing the punishment. We're gonna ostracize you now.
There was one thing with the punishment, but like I guess they all have to eat something disgusting, but one person will secretly get a dish that's not disgusting. I never understood the point of that.
They don't do that very often, and they don't always leave like one is safe. Because I can only remember one of them where they all had to eat a sundae and only one of them was safe.
Yeah.
But
Like,
you had to obviously pretend like it wasn't.
but why would you do that? Like, and not tell someone? Like, I understand like seeds of doubt. By the way, one of those Sundays might be safe, but like they didn't even tell them that. So it's just something for the audience, like just so you know, this one person's having a great time.
I mean, come on. If you watch the Hell's Kitchen like trailers or coming on next episode, it's so gimmicky. It's so clickbaity.
I saw one like this girl's gonna fall in love with this guy, and like I guarantee you she's not.
Like a lot of them don't even happen. And what's really crazy stupid, like they'll have one like, oh my god, his finger got cut off. But like in the episode, it's kind of glossed over.
Like, ah, shit, chef, I cut myself. Okay, go get a bandage. Okay, chef. And then that's it.
I mean, essentially, yeah, it's like, okay, the moment's over. It's not even like a minute total time. You make it like this big thing, and it's like, you know, honestly, nothing really bad ever happens to anybody.
Alright, let's move on to the main challenge, which is always the same, right?
Essentially, yes, except like the last two, essentially. But I mean, Red Kitchen, Blue Kitchen, they basically just have to put out the orders. Ramsay does this brigade style, which he, as the executive chef, is basically telling them what the orders are, and then he'll plate the food up and then he'll let it serve out. So he's like the last checkpoint. So the brigade or the other cooks on the line have to cook the food to perfection. They have to coordinate with each other because like a meal is not just the meat, it's also like the garnishes. So like garnish has to go up first, then the meat is allowed to come up, and all the entrees have to come out together. So that's why like you can't have like fish coming out before the meat. You know, there's a lot of like communication breakdowns. That's the essential theme of the show.
You know how there's meat station, fish station, accoutrement station, yada yada?
Right.
How do we assign those stations?
I believe Ramsay assigns them randomly in the beginning. They never talk about how they're assigned to what, and I think they're supposed to rotate. So that way you'll always be at a different station.
Okay.
Because you'll get to late season and people are like, I've never done vegetables before. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
And then, so there's a dining room for people that we just assume literally just came on there to be on TV, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Was it like there's someone who has to be out there entertaining them?
They did this in the early seasons where they would have someone who was a waiter. And so, which is kind of stupid because the waiter is almost like never going to be eliminated. At least from where I am at. You and I have seen YouTube videos of like the top 5 times a Hell Kitchen chef fucked up, right? Because I'm still waiting for that one waiter who apparently went to the tables and was like, oh, don't order this.
Jeez.
Like, I haven't seen that happen in the show yet, but I know it was in like, there's a YouTuber out there who's just doing these compilations of Hell's Kitchen. Go watch that person for specific highlights of moments.
Top 5 moments people fucked up. We know Ramsay doesn't like cold food, but what if it's too hot?
I mean, it's burnt.
Is it? So, you know, on the stations, high pressure, right? And they make a lot of fuck up. Do you see more foods go out that's too cold or too, like, burnt?
Really enough cold.
Okay.
Raw,
I guess it's like being rushed out, right?
Yeah, and I guess because like you can tell when something's burnt, it's black. You can't necessarily tell something that's raw. Ramsay apparently knows if it's cooked based on touch. So he'll literally just touch your food and be like raw, burnt, not good enough. Very interesting. And then you can cook fish to a certain level. All I hear is medium. They want the salmon medium, and I don't know what the fuck that means. And so that's the major gist of the challenge. My favorite is when they get to the top 4 and they give each one a turn at the pass. So basically they get to be Ramsay, they get to plate the food, be the last checkpoint, and send the food out. What's great about this is that they bring the sous chefs in to fill the holes. Ramsay's supervising, and they put sabotage after sabotage against that person to try to see if they'll catch things. Like, how good is their quality?
It's like some of them might be like, oh, the dish is pork, but I just gave you veal. So
Exactly. Or it's the wrong sauce. There's a missing ingredient. Like, there's no peas in the mashed potatoes. They got it where the maitre d' will be like, this is a 6 top table and we only gave you 5 entrees. Did you catch that there's a missing entree? That one's insane. It's weird because in the early seasons, they kind of like, they group together and talk about what they could do. But in the later seasons, it's like they clearly have it planned out what they're gonna do. And I'll have like one sous chef in the main kitchen and another sous chef in the other kitchen. So that way, like, Ramsay can switch it out. So it almost seems like the contestant tried to fuck with them. So that so it's like you can't just always expect the sabotage to come from the sous chef, which it usually was. I thought it was brilliant. It's very entertaining to watch. It's also interesting to watch because they can be like great in the brigade, but then they'll suck at the pass. And then it's like, well, who's gonna win?
Some of the main challenge dramas, because there's a lot of dramas in the night, right? One of them I liked was that they kept making pasta, but then like they kept fucking up, so they was just throwing it away to the point they're like, we ran out of pasta, Ramsay.
Yeah.
And Ramsay's like, oh my god, that trash can is full of wasted money. What the fuck happened? Like, I didn't want to send you a subpar dish, but damn, now you're gonna send me nothing.
I know, I do feel like sometimes it's like, oh, rock in a hard place. You send up the crappy food, or you throw away the food, Ramsay catches you and yells at you.
And there's one where like, I know you got kind of like, holy shit. But like Ramsay, I guess he makes sample dishes for them to like make for the night. And this one lady just sent the sample dish up to be served.
Yes. Yeah, that was crazy. There's one with this lady, she accidentally threw out pasta, and then she was gonna wash it and reserve it.
Oh.
And you know what? She got very far in the competition.
Did the cameraman catch it?
What happened was sometimes they work in pairs.
Yeah.
And her partner said, where'd you get that? And she's like, from the trash. And she's like, ain't no fucking way are you gonna serve that fucking food. What the fuck are you thinking? Honestly, she should have been eliminated for that.
I mean, yeah, I'm surprised she wasn't.
I mean, honestly, I think the best part of the show is just like I said, they get like these unhinged people. And so there's a lot of conflicts, a lot of butting heads. Some would butt heads with Ramsay, and it's like, holy shit. And so it's a very addicting show, even though I don't know why. And it must be very addicting because for it to have 21 fucking seasons. I think the only year they missed was COVID season.
I think they could have had a little Zoom call. Just
I
like
mean,
all the other shows.
That's how Next Level Chef picked their chefs.
So, the losing team, which is probably going to be the blue team, is on the bottom. How do we kick someone out? Do we vote for them in survival style?
Oh yeah, I mean they do. Ramsay says it's either two ways. One, the best of the worst gets to nominate 2 people, or the whole team comes to a consensus and picks the top 2. Which I think like in later seasons they just do the whole group get to choose. And I think this is the one thing I love about Hell's Kitchen is that like whoever gets eliminated, you'll never know who. Because I would say for the majority, it's like out of the 2 people that were nominated, one of them gets eliminated. But then there's those shocking moments where he'll be like, either you chose wrong, which means that you can't judge people's characters, so I'm gonna choose for you, or someone did so badly for so long, there's gonna be like, that third person's getting eliminated. I mean, I respect what you guys said, but that person has done way worse.
Wasn't there one time, so like, it's kind of like jury duty, right? Like, you pick someone in the jury to say who you pick, who should be on the eliminated, and that person's like, alright, we agreed on A and B should be on the bottom. Wasn't there one time that one person lied?
Yes, he chose whatever he wanted to say. And the group was like, oh, fuck, no, you ain't gonna hijack our vote. And then once the people nominated go up, they have to plead their case of why they should stay. And some people just go on and on and on. And I don't understand why Ramsay doesn't cut them off, especially if they're not gonna be eliminated. But this one, like, someone's rambling and then he chose a third person. I was like, why did we have to listen to this person ramble and ramble about why he should stay?
Chef, I'm still growing, and you don't want to see me when I'm not at my best, so you should keep me till I'm at the best.
I feel that's the worst one to me. Like, I have more to grow. And I'm like, this isn't the place to grow. This is the place where you're supposed to prove yourself.
This is RuPaul's Drag Race, not RuPaul's School Race.
I know, I'm trying to remember who said that in RuPaul's Drag Race. Where it's like, if you don't know who you are at this point, then you shouldn't be here.
Was there any, like, shocking, like, this person's like, I don't even want to be here, Ramsay, fuck you. And he's like, alright, if you don't want to be here, get out.
No.
That's my dream.
I think the most shocking elimination was this guy who was incredibly good. He got to like the top 4, wasn't even nominated, and then he said, I actually want to go because I want to be a good chef at my hometown rather than at your restaurant. You've taught me so much that I think I can bring my hometown up. Like, he literally could have won the whole fucking season. That's how good he was. But I think a lot of times when elimination happens, it's not like a good person got eliminated. The more shocking thing is when a bad person gets to stay on. And I'm like, production's got their finger on the pulse being like, no, they're the drama of the show. They're gonna bring us so many views and then we know people are just gonna be watching to see this person eliminated. And like, you fuckers.
Alright, we get rid of the chef. The episode title's uncreative because just 16 chefs left, 15, 14, yada yada.
They changed it in the later seasons. I think when streaming got popular, they were like, we can't keep these fucking titles anymore. Because it is a spoiler. Because I'm like, looking at the next episode, not like,
Yeah.
And it's like 9 chefs compete again. Are you telling me no one got eliminated? Or they'll go like from 7 to like 4. I'm like, what?
Look, we're at the 2 finales. What do they do to try win that coveted position of having job security?
I think it's changed over the seasons, but the main gist is like they get to run the kitchen, they get to make their menu, they'll cook like all their foods, and then they'll get like these, very popular chefs, usually Wolfgang Puck, to come and judge, and whoever gets the most points out of 5 gets to pick the first people on their brigade. And the brigade is, of course, the last 8 people who got eliminated.
Okay, if you watch any cooking reality show, that's basically how it always is. You make whatever you want and you have the past contestants to help you.
Which is insane. And like in Top Chef, that's fine. But in Hell's Kitchen, there's so much drama between everybody. Literally everyone will have a drama. Literally everyone probably fought with each other at one point. To the point where it's like, who the hell do you even choose? It's very rare when someone's like, oh, I know who I'm gonna pick. Or like, this person's like my best friend. Because a lot of times they'll just pick like the one who got eliminated in 3rd place because obviously they're good at what they do. Like, this is All Stars one where like the girl who won picked her worst rival. And I was like, why? And how the hell did you fucking win? Because not like she sabotaged her, but she definitely was like not in it for her. And that's many people. There's always one person in each team who's like, I want to see you fail. Like season 2, the one who got to the finale was such a bitch. But she wasn't a bitch like the audience, but just to them because she's annoying. They're like, if you win, you gotta pay each of us $1,000.
Wow.
I was like, whoa. I mean, you gotta lose some to win. She didn't win, so nobody got nothing. But essentially, yeah, so they cook the best. Ramsay watches them, see how they are as a leader. They get customer feedback. And then they do this grand thing where they in Ramsay's office and they both have a door they have to go through. And whoever's door opens means that they won that season.
I think if I opened the door and it was locked and like I just hear a bunch of hooting and hollering on the other side, I would just kind of go on the ground and cry because no one can see me.
I think most people do that. I think most people just like soul crushingly drop to the ground and Ramsay has to kind of pick them up, Be like, no, you did a great job. I'm sorry, but you just didn't win. I think I've only seen one person who like, I think probably ran out the open door and hugged the winner.
Oh.
But only one
I
time.
thought ran out the open door and tackled them down off that ledge.
I honestly would just die on the door, being like, fuck.
So you always Google after you watch the season, did they actually take the job from Ramsay, right?
Yeah.
And what's like the percentage of them actually taking, like 90?
I think they all take it, but most of them only last like a year.
Oh.
And then they move on to do something else. I don't know if it's necessarily because like they're only contracted a year or they were only promised a year, but there's only very few chefs. Season 10's winner Christine, who seems to be like still with the Ramsay company, and then like she becomes a sous chef like starting like season 20 or something. I forget what it was. But yeah, but I mean, they bring up past people a lot. And so I don't think a lot of them had any ill will towards the show. So I think a lot of them is like, maybe they just wanted to do something else. I guess find a job that paid more than $250,000 or maybe something else in their hometown. I don't know. I feel like it's a good prize.
Yeah, of course it is. Job security.
For a year.
Still, if I got a job that paid me $2 million, I'll take it.
$2 million. That's what the show is promising. That's why they go through the shit they go through, because they're promised $2 million. I said $250,000.
Oh, my bad.
It's not even $1 million.
So like 250,000. That's still a lot.
It is.
Yeah, that's like nothing to sneer at, bit. Alright, would you recommend Hell's Kitchen to anyone?
I would. But, like I said, we saw it as kids. I guess you don't remember. So I knew what I was kind of getting into. And I thought I'd get bored after a while. But, because I think our parents stopped watching because it was the same shit every season. And it is. But I like to binge. So I would recommend it because I think it's so popular. There must be something alluring about it. Even if it's like tasty poison, right? But not to everyone, obviously. Because it can be very hard to watch people get slammed for doing... Sometimes there's nothing wrong. Or sometimes it's so minor.
Yeah, if you want to see nice Gordon Ramsay, watch Next Level Chef.
Or...
Not Kitchen Nightmares. He's also... I watched a lot of episodes of Kitchen Nightmares.
like Master Chef, but juniors.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I heard he's really nice in that. Because they're kids, right?
Oh, did you burn that? It's okay, it's okay. We're just gonna turn the heat down. You can try again.
It's like, are you okay? That's all that really matters.
You take a 5-minute break. We'll give you 5 minutes later to add on to your time.
He did that to one contestant in Hell's Kitchen, saying, why don't you go upstairs downstairs and take a break. Like, with so much genuine concern that I just couldn't help but laugh.
Alright, and with that, we're gonna sign off. See you next time on Hell's Kitchen, where we send 2 people to the hospital.